Akdim, wait a minute. What language am I talking? Before we begin, I'll just make a brief introductory remark that we learnt in the last two sikhas from the Rebbe that we saw the Parashat Bereshis as what we called Bakoya, like potential. Parashat Bereshis was the perfection of the creation, how Hashem made it. And since Hashem made it, then it had inherent perfection. However, that was how it is, all milamayla lamata, the way Hashem made it. We saw that in Parashat Noach, there was a whole different story that the world, milamata lamayla, didn't work so good at the beginning. Man, being in the world, he rather blew it. And so therefore there was a marvel. We saw, however, that Noach, he gained power even over the marvel, and he, as it were, brought the world back to a situation where Hashem made the bris of the keshes, an everlasting bris with the world. It wouldn't be destroyed anymore. And that's already how man has the ability to bring the world back to a certain status that Hashem is prepared to continue the world and man in a permanent way. However, it's still the Eibusha, what you might call divinity, and the world. And they're like two interreacting or big entities, but they still interact in a way of, as it were, distance one from the other. But what happens in this week's Parasha is the appearance of the first Yid, Avraham Avinu. And Avraham Avinu, he brought about what's called a chibur, a joining together of the unlimited Ein Sof of the Eibusha and the limited world, the way it is mitzat man, and brought them together, that the physical world and man, they became, as it were, divinity in the fullest sense, because of their absolute yichud with Hashem, and the whole world became a dira, or at least the beginning, a dira b'tach toinim for the Eibusha. In other words, a chibur of the two together. And that's what we're going to meet up with tonight. That's, as it were, the message, just that the way the Rebbe builds things, it takes a bit of time and it's complex. But that's basically the whole message. And when we think about it, it's an absolutely amazing concept. And when we think about it, Avraham Avinu was the most amazing personality. He was the most amazing man, that he just gave away his whole self just purely for the sake of Hashem's kavanah, what Hashem wanted. And he's already a man of 75 years old, which even in those days was already not young anymore. And he'd also been through a tremendous amount, and he'd lived through a tremendous amount of trials and struggles with other powers, and he'd had to hide under the ground. He was thrown into prison for 10 years. Even worse than that, he was thrown into a kibshon oish, the whole thing. And yet, nonetheless, Avraham Avinu, at that point in his life, and he's still got a father. Rashi points out last week's passage, his father was really still alive, even though it's written by Yomas, Terech B'charon. So we see a most amazing picture of a man having been through all that, leaves everything that he's achieved and where he's been to up till now, and he goes out not really knowing his ultimate destination, or what awaits him, or how's he going to make out in the whole journey. But Hashem says to him to go, and so he leaves everything behind, and he goes out into the way and he brings about this amazing chibur, and with that, he prepares the world for Matan Torah. Because that's what happened at Matan Torah, that the Eibusha came down into the world and formed an everlasting dwelling with man. That was what Matan Torah represented. Thanks, Yehuda. That's what Matan Torah was all about. And that Avraham Avinu, he began all this. He started it all off. And he created, through his going out in that way, a joining. So it's like a whole series of developments from Parashat Bereshis and the first pasuk in Bereshis, all the way through till the end of Parashat Lech. It's a whole complete development all in its own right. And so it's very, very difficult to appreciate the ultimate greatness of Avraham Avinu. You know, the unbelievable determination and tenacity that came inside his emunah, you know, and his conviction. And I was brought down in the Rambam that he spoke to tens of thousands of people. As the Rambam writes. So how did he speak to 10,000 people? He didn't have computers, and he didn't even have a loudspeaker. Now, what then if you really mean the truth, and you really mean business, then it doesn't matter. You can you can reach thousands of people. They are drawn to you, and your voice carries out into what you might call the wilderness and the lost, and it reaches all sorts of people. So that's the introduction that I saw fit to make. On that basis, we can understand what is a very complex sikha, but we'll be able to understand the flow of the whole thing. Parshosenu, Parsha Lech Lecha, V'saperes al Tkufosei Shel Avraham Avinu. Says the Rebbe, our Parsha tells us all about the era of Avraham Avinu. Who is Avraham Avinu? Ha-Yehudi Harishon. He was the first year. And that was brought down on the Zohar Kodesh, that if somebody is mitkayer to Yiddishkeit, then you have to call him Ben Avraham. Avraham is the first Jew. All Yidden stem from Avraham Avinu. It is a bit of a problem about his father's name or something. So you call him the son of Avraham Avinu. He's the first. He's the first Jew. Yeah, al atzivui harishoin shuit shtaveh me'akodesh baruch hu, and we're also taught about the first commandment that Kodesh Baruch Hu gave to Avraham Avinu. We don't even know for sure if Hashem actually spoke to Avraham Avinu previously. That's another question. Of a actual commandment, for sure he wasn't given. This is the first commandment that he was given. Lech lecha, you have to go out. El ha'oretz, to the land I'm going to show you, as it's written in the pasuk. Al nesiyosei b'poil le'eretz Yisrael. And Avraham Avinu doing exactly what Hashem told him, leaving everything behind, and even his father and everything, going out into the way. And as Rashi points out, not really 100% knowing exactly where he was going. Because Hashem didn't even tell him the name of the country. He just said, go wherever I will take you. We're also told, Alav Toches HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lo Seis LeAvraham Ye'es HaOretz. V'akrisis bris al kach. We're told also of the promise that Hashem made to Avraham Avinu to give him Eretz Yisrael and all his generations, and the fixing of a covenant, not just a promise, but the actual making of a covenant. Well, that's what we call the Bris Ben Haber Besorim. What that occurs a little later in the Parasha, just bore Mitzvahs Milah. Besiyum a Parasha, at the completion of the Parasha, Musupa al Mitzvahs Bris Milah. Yeah, we learn after the Bris Ben Besorim that that's a promise that the Eretz Yisrael will belong to Avraham in all his generations. We then have the mitzvah of circumcision, the bris milah. Sheneh star l'rishena al yedei Avraham Avinu. That was the first time that it was ever carried out. The inyan of a bris milah through Avraham Avinu himself. He was his own moyer because he circumcised himself, Avraham Avinu. Ubekach, again there's a medrash which says that the Eibishter, the Eibishter actually came down and sort of acted somewhat as a sandik. Yeah. Al-Yidei Avraham Avinu, Ubekach nikraso bris nitchiyas shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu im Am Yisrael. There became fixed a everlasting covenant of the Eibishter with the Jewish people, and that's called Brisi Bibsarchem La Bris Olam. This is a covenant which is in the flesh of a Jew. Yeah, that's the Milah, and it's an everlasting covenant. Mekivan she'elohem advorim harishonim amusuporim b'Torah, al Avraham Avinu. These are the first things that were actually told that Avraham Avinu did. The truth of the matter is that according to the sages and all sorts of sources, we know a lot about Avraham Avinu before all this. As we mentioned before, the whole of his life story up to now, and he's having been cast into the Kivshan age and all, but that's not actually told in the Torah. It's not mentioned in the Torah. But these things we just mentioned in the Parashat now, they are the first things which are actually told of Avraham Avinu's activity, what he actually did. So the Rebbe said, these are the first things which are told when I get to Avraham Avinu. Shemimenu higia kol Am Yisrael kulei, that from Avraham Avinu that developed the whole Jewish people. Muvanim kain, from that is understandable, shekol zeh, that these things that we're told in this parsha, particularly that they're the first things that the Torah sees to tell us about Avraham Avinu, mevatei es ha'toiran ha'kloli shokol ha'torah, shokol ha'torah, of the whole Torah, v'hayadus beklal, not just Torah, but being a Yid, Yahadus, means the whole concept of Yiddishkeit and being a Yid. That we have to say that these activities that Avraham Avinu did, and the covenants and the promises that he received from Hashem, all of them are essential to the whole Torah and to the whole meaning of Yiddishkeit and Yid, Beklal. So let's, based on that, we're going to sort of get down more specifically, what is it all about? Echel me Avraham Avinu, beginning from Avraham Avinu, echel tkufa shel hachona lamatan Torah. It's brought down in our sages. The Gemara says that there's three, what do you call it? The 6,000 years are divided into three eras. There's the era of Tohu, and then the era of Torah, and then the era of Yemos HaMashiach, each one being 2,000 years. So Avraham Avinu, historically, he occurs at the beginning of the 2,000 years of Torah. But even more important than that, It's brought down in the Kisri Arizal, in the Likutei Torah from the Arizal and in the Shara Pesukim. The Arizal says clearly that prior to Avraham Avinu, which we're going to see as we go along, the Eibusha and the world hadn't actually formed a yichud. Shamayim la Hashem, the heavens belonged to the Eibusha, and that's where he was. V'ha'oretz nosam livnei Adam, the man was in the earth, but it was like two separate entities. The Arizal says that in the Lashon of Kabbalah, that Matan Torah was a yichud alien, that the divinity joined up with the earth through the avodah of mankind. That's what how we can take. So he said, until Matan Torah in its finality, there didn't come about this union of the two, like we said before. Avraham Avinu began that union, that from the moment that Avraham Avinu listened to Hashem and he went out and he was Mekayim the tzivui of Lech Lecha, from that moment began the beginning of that yichud which was finalized in Matan Torah. So therefore it makes good sense why the Gemara says that the 2,000 years of Torah began with Avraham Avinu. So he said, "Hechelet tkufa shel achona lematan Torah." Tkufa zu yehischila b'miyuchad yemeor shakadosh baruch hu tzivo isay lech lecha me artzecho. From that moment, the Arizal said that's when it began, the whole yichud which finalized in Matan Torah. Zu hi gam asiva lekach שהתורה מתארת בעיקר את פעולותיו של אברהם אבינו רק לאחר הציווי לך לך. After Lech Lecha, we start getting told what Avraham did, where he went, who he spoke to, what happened with him in some detail. But the whole 75 years of his tremendously eventful life is not mentioned in the Torah B'Klal up until this. So the Rebbe points out why, because the whole principle of the main purpose of the whole world, that the Eibusha and the world should unite together, that began with the tzivui of Lech Lecha. From Lech Lecha and further, that's when Avraham Avinu is doing his real big main purpose in the world. So therefore we don't need to be told what he did, even though it was very great and it was tremendously eventful. We don't need to be told all the things before, because it's only from that moment that he got the commandment, Lech Lecha, that he really begins what you might call his real function and his real mission. So he said, therefore, Rak li'acha hatzivui Lech Lecha, Rak li'acha she'Avraham Avinu haya kvar ben 75 shana, then the Torah begins to tell us what he does. So he says, the Rebbe Boruch, it's very clear, Shekol Dor Shebetorah Nahava Hero L'Kol Am Yisrael B'Chol Hazmanim. It's a thing we've spoken about on many occasions, and it's well known from the Alter Rebbe and from all the Rebbeim that the word Torah means instruction, Hero. So every Yidden which is written in the Torah is an instruction to all Yidden in all time. To L'Choira, what is important to us in our generation? Matan Torah. Matan Torah has already been, and it's already generations after Matan Torah. What do we need to know? Hatzivui Lech Lecha shehoyu rak hachona leMatan Torah. Avraham Avinu's going was a preparation for Matan Torah. But we're already after Matan Torah. We're living in a era where Matan Torah has already been. So what do we need to know? Why is it so important and an everlasting instruction that we know what was the achana to Matan Torah? We don't really need to know about the achana because it's already been. whatever led to it, made it possible, that's an Indian. And therefore, the Rebbe says on that, one could ask in an appropriate way, a lashon in the Gemara, which occurs occasionally in Shas, "My dahava hava, masha hoya hoya," whatever's been has been. You know, that's not really an infinite instruction. Yeah. Now that we're in Golas, already after Matan Torah, thousands of years, what do we need to know? What was their chona, the preparation? Or that question becomes even stronger in light of the fact שבכל שונה, בשבס פרשת לך יש, לך יש מחדש עם האחרונה למתן תורה. Every year we read Parashat Lech, and from that it's mashma that if the Torah is everlasting instruction, then every year we have to live with a new chayas in this whole meaning of Lech Lecha. So he said, if it's only a hachona to Matan Torah, which has already been, what do we need to get all excited about it every year? So he says, Yesh lichi mechodesh im hachona lematan Torah Lech Lecha. Kivan she'oz misera mechodesh tzivui zeh hachona lematan Torah. We have to say that there's a famous cloud also from the Arizal, that whenever something happened in the Torah, as if you remember it the right way and you live it over, then it's like as if it happens all over again. It's written in the Megillah towards the end, Shayomim ha'ela nizkorim v'naisim. And the Arizal tells that Yomim ha'ela nizkorim, if you remember them properly, then na'asim, they happen all over again. So if that's learnable from a portion of the Torah which is not mamished, Torah's Moshe, that's one of the books of the Bible, but it's not Torah's Moshe. How much more so in the actual Chumash that must be the case. So therefore, if we have to live every year with a new chayah in this preparation, adova tamur, what is this nogea lanu? Everything's been finished. Every year the Yidden have been mekabel the Torah mechadas. What do we need to know? Why is it so important that we have to every year live with a new chayas? And what was the preparation? Yeah, we've already got it. So the Rebbe, this question gets even more stronger. I mean, if we look at it carefully, it's well known that every day we have Matan Torah. And is well known from the bracha that we make every morning on when we begin to learn. For that day, we make what's called Birchas HaTorah. And that bracha is in the present tense. It's inifan. V'haraya shanu mavochim kol yom noisein haTorah. Baruch atah Hashem noisein haTorah. Well, that's indicatory of the present tense. Umikivan shem mailim b'kodesh, since there's a cloud brought down in the Masechta Brachas, and that's nogeh also to Hanukkah, because that's why the Beis Hillel holds that you start off with one light and you move up to the 8. Beis Shammai hold the other way. They hold like the whole 8 at the beginning, because Beis Hillel holds a cloud ma'alin. You must always be going upwards in Kedusha. So that follows Hareisha b'chol yom yeshna aliyah neitzevas b'matan Torah. Every day there's a new aliyah. We go up higher in our union of Matan Torah. So Kunta is that Matan Torah was not only one time, but Matan Torah is occurring. Matan Torah is occurring every day, and every day we have to say that it's better than it was the day before. Because Mailim B'Kodesh is a cloud. We learn it out from a pasuk. It's a Gemara in the Masechta Brachas. It follows what he said, that every day there's a new and better Matan Torah than there was the day before. As in Cain, What do we need to know then? What was the hachana to Matan Torah? Every day we've got a new and higher Matan Torah. So therefore the Rebbe says, Arishi b'chol yem nesh aliyah neisefes b'Matan Torah u'b'miyuchet b'chag HaShavuot. And how much more so when we come to the Chag of Shavuot, that's well known, that's Matan Torah, HaKlolis, or Kol HaShana. So then we have to live the Indian for Matan Torah in a very special way. U'b'Shabbat says, B'hem koyrim es haserasa, Dibras, and particularly on the Shabbos of Yisrei and Pasha V'Eschonan in Devarim, where we read the actual Maimad of Matan Torah, the actual Serasa Dibras, She'oz Yeshna Aliyah Yesha Gedera. Every day we go up higher, but on Shavuot and on Pasha Yisrei, we go up even more higher. ומכך ברור שאנו כבר נמצאים בדרגה עליונה ביותר מאז מתן תורה. From that it's clear that all Yidden are on a much higher level in Matan Torah than they were even at the moment that Matan Torah was actually given. Even at the moment that Matan Torah occurred, since every day there's an Aliyah and every year there's an Aliyah, then we're now in Matan Torah on a much higher level than we were way back there when the Torah was given. So if we're saying that Avraham Avinu was a hachana to Matan Torah, he was a hachana to Matan Torah first time around. We are in a rock further in Matan Torah itself than then. So what do we need to read every year, Lech, which is a chana for Matan Torah, the way it was the first time round. So the Rebbe says, "Shanu nimtzim b'darga eliyena b'yezim miyaz Matan Torah, l'shema onu zukukim aksho." At this point in history, lahachona l'Matan Torah, how it was by Avraham Avinu. What do we need to learn about it and make a whole tremendous inyan of it every year? So the Rebbe said, well, maybe you might say that there are some people who are not sort of in it so much. So the Rebbe said you can't say that either, because Matan Torah had an effect on the whole world. How much more? The Rebbe brings down that the Medrash says that when the Abishah came down on Mount Sinai, then all the birds in the world went quiet. There wasn't even a bird that was betafte, and everybody knew, all the goyim sensed that something amazing was happening in the world. In other words, that Matan Torah had a tremendous effect on everything. So the Rebbe says, if that was the case, even birds got affected, how much more so a Yid that he's got an official key? Whether or not he wanted, he was affected by Matan Torah. So it's just a question of relative, but not ein or roch, differences between Nitin. And therefore you can't say, well, we have to prepare for Matan Torah for certain people. Those who are really into it, ain't no hanam, we don't have. So the Rebbe said that's an impossible case, because first of all, they were affected by Matan Torah, and they're just behind in a relative sense, not ein or roch. And secondly, yes, we wouldn't make a whole inyan with Avraham Avinu that every year we have to read it just for a portion of people that we don't really know exactly who they are. That's what the Rebbe adds now. Afila ela shaloi hoyu muchonim kol kach l'Matan Torah bizmanoi, kvar lo zekukim lahachona l'Matan Torah, mikivin sheMatan Torah kvar pa'al. Matan Torah affected v'yishpia al kol ha'olam kuloi. Mebli lishchashav b'madrigos. Doesn't matter what his level, maybe he was affected. It's just a relative difference from one to the other, legabi, the immediate inyan of Elokut. Okay, so Imke, we got the question, that what do we need to busy ourselves every year with a hachona to Matan Torah, which has already been way back, and we're now incomparably higher and greater than that Matan Torah. And secondly, what sort of heroa is that to us in our everyday lives, when we're on a much higher and comparably different level than what Avraham Avinu was preparing for. So we have to come up with an expression, with an explanation again, that there's something that occurs or something is happening in the Bria that nonetheless, despite all the aliyahs since Matan Torah, we still are waiting for another perfection in Matan Torah that we don't have right now. And so we need to know how to prepare ourselves for that. And Avraham Avinu, being as he is with the first yid, as we said at the beginning, he teaches us something eternal that you got to do to prepare for the new level in Matan Torah which you're heading for. And so we need to understand what is this new level in Matan Torah that we're heading for. So have you got any suggestions?
Yeah.
That we're heading towards the Gula Shlema. So we haven't finished with Matan Torah. It was still, it's not only relatively are these aliyahs, but the finality of Matan Torah hasn't occurred yet. So we got to prepare. And Avraham Avinu, being the first Jew, he taught us something that is going to be relative in all levels, even on the final level, to step to be Mekabel the Torah Liyasit Torah. Tshuva Lecha, says the Rebbe, the answer to this whole question, Davke. First of all, it begins on a simple level, and then he moves further up. He said, Davke mipnei shebechol yom, ובכל שונה אוילים מהשלב הקודם במתן תורה, אין noch an. Every day there are aliyahs, so the Rebbe said, Davke, because every day there's an aliyah, then you need to know how to make your aliyah from today to tomorrow. Now, this is a very amazing inyan. What the Rebbe assumes in many of his sikhas, that every yid lives in a mobile way. We're always moving. And everywhere, in other words, that one day to the next day is not just a schlep, from one day to the next, but every day is, as it were, a whole new entity and a whole new beginning in its own right. So there was the Rebbe, your Matan Torah today is not allowed to be like your Matan Torah tomorrow. So Im Kain Davke, because every day it's a new Matan Torah, that you're going higher and higher, the Gabi the Matan Torah there was once, but nonetheless you need to know how to handle this new elevation in Matan Torah that you're supposed to be making to tomorrow. So Avraham Avinu, with his whole amazing avodah, Lech, and he brought about and made possible that you can prepare yourself in the right way from one day to the other. That's how we can answer in a simple way. So the Rebbe says, every day we are preparing ourselves to go from Matan Torah to Shlav Naila V'Chadosh Yesa Me'Ashlav HaKoidem. And when was the Shlav HaKoidem? Yesterday, the day before. Lochein Yesh Torah B'Chona Mukdemes Kedei Lahagil Shlav HaGavoy Yesa Anitza L'Foneinu. It's waiting for us beyond Zeh or B'Shanazu, if we take it in a bigger way, in the year. So the Rebbe says every day you're going upwards. You're moving to a whole new thing. You need to know how do you prepare yourself for today, moving up to the next day. And that's what we call in the Gemara, Hiyana Sinas. Hiyana Sinas means that what you thought was the kasha, that itself is the teretz. In other words, the kasha was, since we're moving every day and we're continuously going up the whole time, what do we need to know what was the echona from way back? So that it was a davki because you're going up the whole time, then you need to prepare yourself. You need to know how do you prepare yourself for the next big aliyah, which is tomorrow. So that was the whole thing. We began at the beginning of the Sikha that Avraham Avinu was an Neshama Klolis L'Kol Am Yisrael. He showed for all the generations how you prepare yourself from one level to the other. I see everybody's very calm, and everybody takes these things very normally. But I mean, when you think about it, this is mind-boggling, that every day you're being makabel the Torah mechadash, and you've got to prepare yourself, and you've got to, what's the preparation? Lech lecha. What does Lech lecha mean? Go away from where you are now. Avraham Avinu could have said, well, I've been 75 years. I've been working for 75 years. Yeah, that's pretty hefty. What do you want of me? So Hashem says, no, I'm sorry. You have to get out and you have to keep moving higher and higher. So that's what's happening with us. You can say, well, wait a minute, I should take it easy. I've had a pretty good record up to now. I've achieved, I've done, and it does. So the Rebbe says, Avraham Avinu is not interested in that. He says, tomorrow is going to be a whole new mountain Torah, a whole new, Shavuos is going to be fractured. In common we great, so you've got to know how to prepare yourself. From one day to the other. So therefore he says, Zuhi mashmois hamasupa. So now the Rebbe puts in brackets here, that's the implication of what we are told. Shematmas kol dibur she'omar kosh bo v'matan tzira. Here's mamish a bomber. The Rebbe said that message I just gave you is the point behind the story, which is told in the Gemara in Masechta Shabbos, that when the Eibishter spoke in Matan Torah, by every dibur, that he called the neshama left her. By all the Yidden, the neshama left her, had he caught the body. And afterwards, the Eibishter gave back the neshamas to them. So the Rebbe said, what does it mean the neshama went out? That should reach the highest perfection that you could. And you couldn't, as it were, you couldn't reach any higher, so your neshama just took out. Nonetheless, we see that the Eibishter waited a minute until he had a time to breathe, and then he gave you back in the neshama. What's he had to give you back in the neshama? He's waiting for you to go even higher. What you were poreach, your neshama, a few minutes before, that's nothing, right? Right now we're giving you back in the neshama in order that you should go incomparably higher than what you were a few minutes ago. I mean, that's the most amazing shot, in the whole thing, a whole way of understanding that story in the Gemara. So therefore the Rebbe says, in other words, that they passed out, they were like as if they were finished. They said to the Eibishter, we've done everything we can, we can't manage anymore. So the Eibishter gave them back with a towel that he's going to make levitic all the toite, how do you call all the dead, passed away people. Masha Mochiyah, and that shows us, they came to the highest point of perfection. They gave away the neshama. That's it, I can't manage anymore. Finish, I'm sort of signing off. The Eibishter Hutel Aleim. Hutel means it was given them a new job. The Eibishter gave him back to the neshama. They said, oh no, what you thought was the end of your life you gave away, that's nothing. I'm giving you back your neshama in order that you should reach incomparably higher than what you lived everything up till now. And that's why I'm giving you back to the neshama. So what do I see from that? We see from that the Eibishter is never satisfied. There's never anything that I've achieved nicely up till now. And when you think about it, it's a very amazing principle, and that's what was with Avraham Avinu. He's 75 years old. He's been through the most amazing things, and nobody even mentions them. Hashem doesn't even write it in the Torah. I mean, this guy's been hacking away for 75 years in the most unbelievable circumstances, and most unbelievable in serious nefesh. And the Eibishter comes along and says to him, I'm sorry, man, leave it all behind and go out. You don't even know where. I'll show you, you know. So Avraham Avinu packs up, and right, he goes out. So we see that the Avish is never satisfied. Hashem doesn't accept your saying, well, look, Avish, I've achieved a lot. And so Hashem says to him, sorry, man, if you did achieve a lot, which I'm not going into that, but if you did achieve a lot, that's only because you're going to have to achieve Ein Arach Hayah. If you think about it, in those brackets, you guys might think I've had a bit of money before I came, which is not true. And I don't I don't hit secret bottles. But you should realize that this is mamish bomber. And so now we can all understand. I was by a lot of Farbringans by the Rebbe. Almost every Farbringen that the Rebbe gave, he demanded something new. There was always some new demand, you know. So the Rebbe never said, listen, you guys, all you consider Yashakoya for everything you've done up till now. You know, you've really done a lot, and you're great guys and everything. But if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you to make an effort, you know, maybe we can do it just a little bit more, you know. No, we should. Right now we're going to start off, we're going to do this and this, we're going to conquer the world, we're going to go here, we're going to go there, we're going to make tanks, we're going to do this. And, you know, the Rebbe never said, Ayeshakoya for what you've done up to now. Well, that was very nice of you guys, thank you, you know. But it was always like, because whatever you achieved up to now, that's only a good reason why Hashem's going to demand of you incomparably more. In the middle, by Martin Taylor, the Yin said, listen, you know, I've already achieved everything. Here's my neshama. Says the Abish, thank you, here it is back. You're getting it back. What are you getting it back for? You got to do incomparably more. Well, I don't know if everybody gets the joke. Oh, I mean, this is Mummy's, there's Buddha, you know, it just fit the whole Eden, the Rebbe's leadership of us just so powerfully. So therefore, the Rebbe says, let's get out there into fine detail. How can we see ourselves as still not having reached the finality of Matan Torah, and we have to do mamish what Avraham Avinu does? How does that work? So the Rebbe said, not just to reach a higher level in Matan Torah, not just a better level, but you got to get to the perfection. Oh, come on, you guys you don't realize what the Rebbe is all about. The Rebbe was only interested, or is only interested in Shleima, perfection. And that was the Rebbe said, you're going higher and higher every day in your Matan Torah, and that's part of what Hashem is demanding of you, and that's everything. But we got to reach the Shleimas, we're going to reach the perfection. As long as we haven't reached the perfection, then we still haven't reached anything, because the ultimate aim is only perfection. If we're going higher in Matan Torah, but we haven't yet reached the perfection in Matan Torah. Yeah? So he said, therefore, but therefore we have to do exactly what Avraham Avinu did, because we're like still before Matan Torah. We haven't got to Matan Torah yet. I've got to Matan Torah. Every day we're going up and everything. Very nice, but that's not perfection. You haven't reached the perfection yet. As Koli, that you haven't reached the perfection, you're just starting off. And that's another, those of us who were there by the Rebbe and saw the way the Rebbe functions and everything, that is another essential point in the whole, relationship of the Rebbe to mankind. That the Rebbe says, everything's fine, everything's nice, but we're going to reach perfection. And if we didn't reach perfection, then we're not we're not on the wall. We're sort of achieving nice things, but we haven't made it yet. To make it, you got to reach the perfection. So what's the perfection? You already said it before. The Torah that will be mitgileh with Mashiach. So as long as we haven't reached that, then we've got to do what Avraham Avinu did. Lech Lecha, get out of ourselves, get out of everything, and start all over anew. You don't know exactly where you're going. Don't worry. He's running the show. Yeah. So he said, "Behektem oidis habtocha." Let's take, for example, another idiom which is similar to this. The Rebbe says, in reference to the promise that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made to the Jewish people, al Eretz Yisrael. Hashem promised us Eretz Yisrael. And he said, "B'Parashat Mesuper Shavram Avinu niknas l'Eretz Yisrael, v'HaKadosh Baruch Hu hivtiach osei loi ulazarei." That Avraham Avinu got into Eretz Yisrael. He just gets into Eretz Yisrael. All of a sudden Hashem appears to him, which he didn't in Haran. He didn't appear to him in Haran, he just spoke to him. Over here he appeared to him, and he said, "Listen, this country which is Avraham Avinu just got here." He just walked inside Eretz Yisrael. Hashem appears to him. He said, "Oh, yes, by the way, you are going to get this country, and all this is going to belong to you." This is a promise that Hashem made, loyal lazare. Ve'im kain, says the Rebbe, gam neizezeh choyzev mitzayram echodor b'kol shona koyrim as a parsha. Im kain, there's something that reoccurs in reference to the promise that Eretz Yisrael is going to be out. So l'chorei, you can tell them, wait a minute, Eretz Yisrael has already been out for a long time, Yeshua took over Eretz Yisrael, and then there was a Golus, and then the Yidden came back from the Golus with Ezra, and the Rambam says they made a Chazocha, and they got a very clear ownership of Eretz Yisrael. So Eretz Yisrael is already out. What do we need to be told? This whole Hashem promised Avraham Avinu, Eretz Yisrael, we've already got it for generations. So the Rebbe says, I've already given it. Avraham Avinu traveled around in the whole world. What the Rebbe brings down, that there are certain opinions in our sages, that why did Avraham Avinu take care to travel around, that he was making a chazokah. He made what's called a kinyan chazokah. ואחרי הכיבוש הראשון של האורץ בימי יהושע ופעם שנייה בימי עזרא הסופר, מהי המשמעות המעשית העכשווית? What is the present practical implication של הליגת אברהם אבינו לכנוס את ארץ ישראל אחרי שהיא כבר שלנו? It's already out. But b'chazokah and b'kibbutz, we've already taken it. He said, "B'miyur b'deres ha'achreinim, achrei shekvar imdim l'sayim es hafika schutrot le'eretz Yisrael." No? What's the famous Torah of the Rebbe Tzom Tzedek? But the Rebbe brings it tens of times, that there was a Yid wanted to go to Eretz Yisrael, and the Rebbe Tzom Tzedek said to him, "Make here Eretz Yisrael." So the Rebbe said to him, "We've got Eretz Yisrael in two ways. We have Eretz Yisrael, which belongs to us." The Goyim don't think that way, but that's the truth. Through kibbutz and through chazokah and through everything. It's ours. He said, that's one thing. The second thing is that in Ruchnias, we've been making Eretz Yisrael all over in Chutz La'aretz, just by being Yidden, make their Eretz Yisrael. As he came, we've already got a heck of Eretz Yisrael. What do we need to be told that Avraham Avinu was promised Eretz Yisrael? We already got it. What do I learn from the promise? And every year I read it in the turn, everybody gets excited, but it's already been, it's already happened. and different things are happening now. So therefore says the Rebbe, I'm sorry, but that's not true. Now what is that? In the brisbane of Asorim, in the brisbane of Asorim, how many peoples did Hashem promise to Avraham Avinu? Come on, you guys do a bit of work. How many peoples in the plural did Hashem promise Avraham Avinu? One? How many peoples did he promise we would take over?
The 6, the 10, the 3 and the 3, the Hanani, the Haniki, the Kadmani, and the
3?
6.
10.
10, I meant to say 10.
Starts with 3, these are all 10.
7 now and 3 later.
7. Very nice. Hashem promised us 10 people. If you look in the brisbane of Asorim, he promised us 7, and then he says, Kaini Knizi Vakat Moini, well, that's another 3 people. Yeah, 3 people. We didn't get those yet. We got only 7. When we conquered Eretz Yisrael, we conquered 7 people over not 10 people. Which means that Eretz Yisrael, already, albeit is ours, but it's only part of what we were promised. We're still working towards reaching Moshiach, and then Moshiach will give us the 3 extra arotzes of Kaini Knizi V'Kat Moini. That is Edoim Moya V'Amoy. That's the extra 3 peoples we haven't got yet so far. So the Rebbe says that the shleimus of Eretz Yisrael we don't have yet. We have Eretz Yisrael, but we have only 7 people. The whole 10 that we were promised, we haven't got yet. So we're still working towards getting Eretz Yisrael. So therefore, the Rebbe says the promise that we read in the Torah every year is a real promise, even to us. We don't have the whole Eretz Yisrael yet. We don't have it. So when are we going to get it? When Mashiach will come. We're still working towards the perfection of Eretz Yisrael. And how did Avraham Avinu get to that? Lech Lecha. He had to first of all leave where he was, and then he got that promise. When he got into Eretz Yisrael, then he got the promise. As he came, Lech Lecha is an indication of what we're supposed to be doing in order to get to the perfection of Eretz Yisrael. And when will we get the perfection of Eretz Yisrael? When Moshiach will come. And what will Moshiach reveal to us? The perfection of the Torah. So it's all one united Inyan, that we will get the perfect Matan Torah, the Shleima of Matan Torah, when we get the perfect Eretz Yisrael. And how are we going to get the perfect Eretz Yisrael? Through Bias Mashiach Tzid. Tzidkeinu. In order to prepare for that, we're going to do what Avraham Avinu told us. We've got to be Lech Lecha. And what it means in simple terms, what does it mean, the Inya for Lech Lecha? It means to get out of everything you hold, to be so clear and well established in your life. And you got to get out, and you got to be prepared to start all over again, and not to reckon with what your perfection up till now. And you got to go out and say, where's it all leading? Hashem's going to show me. Hashem will bring me. I just got to move. I got to get out and move and incomparably change my whole self. If I'll do that, so then I can prepare for the Nesinas Ha'oret, and followed by that the Inyan of Matan Torah, and through that the Inyan of conquering the whole world, Al-Yedei Moshiach. That's basically the picture of what the Rebbe builds up. Now he goes on at some length. What's the time now? It's hard for me to turn around.
1 minute after 9.
1 minute after 9, okay.
And 20 seconds.
And then the Rebbe builds up an amazing case here, that what exactly was the preparation for Matan Torah, and what in effect did Matan Torah really achieve. So the Rebbe said was like we said before at the beginning, the joining of divinity and mankind and the world together. Noach was a saving of the world, but Hashem promised he wouldn't destroy it anymore, but he and the world are still, as it were, two like entities. The world has to join together, and that was Matan Torah. Yered Hashem al Har Sinai, he came down and he joined up with the world. It all became one. Well, that's what Avraham Avinu was all about. That's what Avraham Avinu, by leaving his country and going into Eretz and doing what Hashem told him to do. After all that he had achieved, through that he was able to bring about a joining and a fusion of the world. But from that we learn a tremendously important thing, that if you want to bring down divinity into the world and cause a fusion and a union, you got to be prepared to, like I've said on many occasions, to be a little bit cuckoo. You've got to be a little bit crazy. You've got to leave everything behind. You've got to leave it. You got to say, well, I've achieved a great lot and I'm nice and I'm this. You've got to forget it all. You just got to go out and start all over again. And then that Mesiras Nefesh, or that causes that Hashem comes down and joins up with your life. And that causes that it makes a union between divinity and the world, and that's Matan Torah. That's what Matan Torah is all about. So the Rebbe says that's what our work now is, to do that in the whole world. We got Eretz Yisrael, and Eretz Yisrael is the perfection of that idea. The Yidden have made Eretz Yisrael a holy country. They've got to now, Eretz Yisrael Yitpashet B'kol Eretz. The whole world has got to be like Eretz Yisrael. And that's the work now of Yidden, and that's the whole concept of the Shlichas. The Rebbe said that Shluchim go out, and they carry that message, and they bring it to the whole world, and the whole world begins to realize that there's a fusion between man. It's not just two separate inyanim, but it's a fusion between man and the divinity, and that's the ultimate aim. And that's what Mashiach is going to perfect. But we got to prepare, and we got to Lech. And that's what we see that Avraham Avinu, the Arizal, taught us. Now we get back to the Arizal. That's what he said. Avraham Avinu was the Hachona. Where are we making ultimately the Hachona? Finally, in the ultimate analysis, Hashem's going to make the final perfection. But we got to do everything we can to make that perfection. And that's the reason why we need to know every year, Lech Lecha, what's the preparation? We're all the time working towards the perfection. We're not just satisfied with one aliyah day after day. We got to get to the perfection. All right, you guys, and that's the message of the Lubavitcher Rebbe to the world. And those of us who actually, if you look carefully at the Rebbe, I was by the Rebbe a lot of times, I like sort of understanding things. So I used to watch the way, if you watch the way the Rebbe functioned, he wasn't interested in anything, only perfection. That's why it's amazing. Everything by the Rebbe was, the ultimate. If it wasn't the ultimate, it was nice, but it was simcha to be believable, immediate. Therefore he says in the famous Sikha, simcha l'shem simcha atzma. Simcha just for its own sake. Not I'm somewhere because of something, or I want to be something. I want to be freighted of it, just to be freighted, but it's believable. Understand? Yeah, and that was the whole, in every inner was the same. So the Rebbe said, you want to learn Torah, you got to learn Torah, day and night, and you got to just get the whole inner, it's only Torah, and so perfection, everything. Yeah, it was like that, and that's the way it is. V'amela Hashem Asal will take him out. We reach the emes of perfection. But had to kill it by sitting around, twiddling our thumbs. We're not going to get there. We're going
to keep working.
We got to get moving.
Doing the Rebbe's work. We can't just say we got to do something. The Rebbe said himself. It's fine to say it, but you got to do something too. We have to continue the work. Am I wrong, Rabbi? The Rebbe said to us.
Why not more?